What up, what up, what up? I am back. Ashlan Ray, the bullshit bully and the ringleader of the Brown Girls Billionaire gang. I am so excited because I got my biz bestie on the line. She told me I'm not allowed to call her biz bestie anymore. She's actually my best friend now. She is Sundey Gardner, the marketing boss pro. And this lady, when you talk about funnels and sales and Facebook ads and selling strategies and all of that shit, she is your girl. What's up, babes?
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. Like, I'm so excited about this. And I'm like, we got to have this conversation. I have to keep it professional-ish, sort of.
I don't know that I can keep it professional, but I will do my very best.
Look, because you know how we do. Oh my gosh. So look, I'm gonna give you a chance to introduce yourself to everybody in your own words and give us a little background on your business and who you work with.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ash. My name is Sundey Gardner. I am the Marketing Boss Pro. I specialize in helping entrepreneurs and small business with marketing and automating their marketing process. So if you have a product or a service and you would like to attract clients or prospective strangers to your offer or promotion or event, I help you do that through marketing and Facebook ads.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so that was so much. And I wonder how many people, because you know when they be new into the industry and they're like, you may do what?
What? Like, what is that? I mean, what?
And for that reason, Sundey is dope as fuck, and she is going to offer you guys her free planner at freeplanner.sundeygardner.com. And what it is 5 steps to help them to their next promotion. Did I say it right?
Yes. So it's 5 steps on how to organize yourself so that you can get a offer, promotion, or event planned out and launched so that people will start buying.
Awesome. Okay. So that means while she's talking for the next hour or so, make sure that you guys aren't getting lost in what it is that she does exactly, because just know that she'll be able to help you out at the end of all this. So question, awesome. Lots of questions. First of all, entrepreneurship, craziness, insanity sometimes.
Yes.
I know that you are newer to the online world. I only say newer because you have a business that you've had for 10 years now?
11 years. Yep, 11 years this July.
Okay, so what is your first business? What is it, and how did you start it?
Okay, so my first business is a family owned a barbershop. So we opened that in 2006. Subsequently after that, I opened up a salon in 2009 and ran the salon until about 2014, and the barbershop is still in existence. So we started that. My husband always loved cutting hair, and so he cut hair. He was cutting hair when I met him, and we had an opportunity to open up a physical location because he knew when we moved that he wasn't going to work for anyone else. So we opened up a physical location and we made the leap in 2006, and some 11 years later we're still in business, cutting the heads of Friscoians in Texas.
Awesome. Awesome. So one of the things that I found interesting about you when we first met was the fact that you're a 6-figure chick, and the fact that you wanted to, have your own business when
you gotta be careful about making yourself known as a 6-figure chick now, though.
Why so? Tell me how so.
Okay, so this is sort of a sidetrack, and I'm good for the sidetrack. So I just read on Facebook that a lady in Florida announced that she was making 6 figures and she got shot. Did you hear that?
Yes, and they were saying that the husband is like the first suspect for the insurance money or something.
Oh, I didn't even realize it was the husband. I hadn't.
Well, here's the crazy thing about this, guys. Y'all getting all the tea for this interview for real, because I was in one of the Facebook groups that woman was in, and I read her post where she was so grateful, and to see that, I was just like, so I do it.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know that I want anyone knowing that I'm a 6-figure, right? I mean, I make some coins, but that's all you need to know.
Okay, all right, we're going with that. I feel you, Sean.
I don't want nobody coming to my door and shoot me. So,
okay, but my question is, because I get this a lot, right? It was like I had this really cushy job, I was making this money, and then I decided to give up my comfort and security.
I know, like, it's a little bit of a tear coming out right now.
Tears falling, in order to embark on this journey. So my question for you was, what was going through your mind when you started doing, because did you keep your job at first when you were opening the shop and then kind of transition out, or can you explain that to us?
So, my journey has been kind of crazy. So I supported my husband in terms of doing the marketing, doing all the operations, and opening up the business. I did all the website, all, social. At that time in 2006, there really wasn't a lot of social media. So we did all physical marketing. And so I did work full time while when he opened in 2006. But I always had this dream of being a stylist. So in 2000, I want to say it was 2012, I decided to go full time into the salon and work the salon full time. I was like, you know what? I'm done with corporate America. I'm just going to jump, and I'm going to jump and do hair full time, because that's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to have a salon, and my husband sort of pushed me out because the barbershop was supposed to be half salon and half barbershop, but they took over. They were like a virus. I always say the boys took over the barbershop, so there was no space for me. So I had to open up another location, and there happened to be a space open 3 doors down, and that's what we did. So I built it up a little bit, and I was like, you know what? If I keep going, I can make the money that I want to, and that's what I did. So in 2013, I guess it was 2012, maybe, you know what? It wasn't 13. It was 2011, 12. I can't remember. It's all a blur. Like, my mind is mush.
Yeah.
But
I feel
it
you
was
on
a
that.
couple of years after the barbershop opened that I went into doing hair full time.
Okay. Now, how did you transition to going online? Because I hear you saying that it wasn't very much social media. And I know you did start out with a hair company online when you first entered the online market, right?
Yeah. So what happened is I got super sick because I was doing too much. I was doing the barbershop, I was doing the salon, and we had opened up another business. We were doing transportation, and I just got miserably sick, and we have 3 children, and I had to stop the relentless pace. So I had to back off. And so made the decision to close the salon and stop another business. I had to have surgery, what have you. And so I was like, I still want to be in the beauty industry, but I needed to find a way to deliver services without actually being behind the chair. So funny enough, I actually did hair, thought I loved it, but I didn't really love it. I didn't like standing behind the chair. So I love marketing. I love running businesses and opening businesses. So that was not my passion. So I discovered a way to still service the industry, but do it within my genius, which is marketing and running businesses and helping businesses. So I decided to do an online business and start a coaching business that allowed me to do that. I also sell hair extensions. As you can see, like, I love the hair extensions.
You love your glam, that's for sure.
I do love my glam. So I had to figure out a way to still be in the glam business without being behind the chair.
Yes. Well, you do that, and then you also you're in your friends' ears like mine when you're like, bitch, get on camera one more time when I was in makeup on. I'm like, I forgot.
I'm gonna have to cut you. I'm gonna have to cut you. Even if I have to do it remotely.
So, my question is, because I hear a lot about people who start out, they're brick and mortar, and then they move online. Was it a shock to you? What was the learning curve like to go from, door to door marketing to like online?
So, and it's interesting that you asked that, because where I discovered the barbershop really has thrived off of word of mouth, and we're the only African-American barbershop in the area at the time that we opened. So it spread like wildfire. We did a lot of guerrilla marketing, flyers, and that kind of stuff. But when I opened up my salon in 2009, it wasn't the same thing, because there was a salon on every corner. So that is right about the time that 2010 is when I got introduced to Facebook ads. My salon was not doing well. Like, we had opened, I had built it out, made this amazing looking space, And it was like crickets, which is like a lot of people do. They open up a business, you know, I spend time on my website, spend time on making it look amazing, and there was no one coming in the door. You know, trickle a little bit from, because people knew me from the barbershop, but not like the volume that the barbershop was having. So that's when I went online. Somebody, I can't remember, because I was really slow to adopt Facebook and slow to adopt getting on social media. But I don't know if it was my daughter or somebody, and they're like, you need to get online. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not getting on MySpace, or, you know, I mean, because that was back when MySpace was just like dying out, right? I was like, MySpace is crazy. I'm not doing that. I just never adopted it. And my daughter was on Facebook, so I was on Facebook trying to keep after her. And happened, you know, making sure that she's not posting a bunch of bullshit. And I saw an ad, and I was like, what is this? And so from 2010 until now is how I discovered. So I started advertising the salon on Facebook and had amazing success. And this is when Facebook was nothing like it was now. I had this really disgusting graphic. I mean, it was a black and white graphic of a lady with an afro, and it said natural hair salon on the bottom. I mean, it was god awful, but that's all you could do back in 2010. And I studied, I learned how to, you know, locally get my name out there. And that's how I drove business to the salon. And we, and this, again, this is before Facebook groups. This was before anything. It was just your business page and a hope and a dream. And I ran ads and grew that Facebook page to about 1,000 people in about 2 or 3 months. And it was all through ads.
Back when Facebook allowed you to have actual traffic.
That's right. You didn't have groups. So you were able to drive traffic to, and when you posted to your Facebook page, you got, you know, as long as you were regularly posting and you're putting content on, the people who liked your page saw it. Mm-hmm. Now that was a long time ago. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah. Tell me about it. So okay. So you had a lot of success with Facebook ads, and is that, and because when I met you, you were already like fucking vagina deep in Facebook ads. So like, is that where it kind of started, that spark started? Because you were like, y'all, just so y'all know, she is the queen of Facebook ads. Like, we got all these lily white people talking about they're the queen of Facebook ads. Well, here is our black queen.
That's right. I am representing the brown girls on the Facebook ad front. So if you want to know ad nauseum how to do a Facebook ad, I am your chick for that, for sure.
Facts on facts on facts. So as you started to see that, now, how did you kind of transition into the coaching side of it? Is that because when you realized that you just enjoy doing the marketing part, have you worked with the salons to be their coaches? Like, how did you, now I know the story, but they don't know the story.
So I transitioned into coaching, but like I said, so in 2004, I think I got sick in 2013. And then subsequently, a year later, both my husband and I were in the barbershop, we're in the business, right? So that means we were working every Saturday, and we have young children who needed to get into sports. So I was like, you know, someone's got to give it up. I don't really like doing hair, or I don't like doing hair behind the chair. So I closed the salon, and then I started getting bored, and I was like, you know, this is not enough. Like, I need to do something more. So you know, my husband kept pushing me, like, what, you know, you need to do what you do best, which is, I love opening businesses. And so I happened to see that there was a need in this industry for people in marketing. I mean, just there's not a lot of faces, brown faces doing Facebook ads. There's not a lot of coaches helping businesses that look like me, that look like you, Ash. So there is a huge need in the beauty industry for coaches to help people really take their business to the next level. So I started off in where the area of industry that I was most comfortable with was the beauty industry. So that's how I decided to start doing marketing and coaching for salon owners, because that's where I came from. That was the industry I came from. Mm-hmm. So since then, I've expanded out to entrepreneurs and small businesses in general, but I started with where I was my most comfort level.
Now, there was a time when we first got, and because we kind of did everything together, y'all. Y'all don't understand. We were like literally joined at the hip. Um, when you first started, at the
I still
moment,
kind of feel joined at the hip, though.
yeah.
You can't be just cutting me off like that.
Sorry. So, all right. You know what? So you play too much. So when we when we first started, we both had these same obstacles. But I would like to hear from your point of view. When you were first starting out and nobody knew you, and you're the new kid on the block, and you're like, "Hey, I can make your salon better." What were some of the challenges that you faced along the way, and then how did you overcome them? Because I know we had to get very confident because we knew what the fuck we were doing, but we had to get confident in, conveying that message. So what were some struggles you had? How did you overcome them? And just drop some nuggets on us, man.
Okay, so I would say the biggest thing is, because to me there is really a distinction between selling your services online and your products online versus selling your services in person or your services in person. So if you have a brick and mortar business versus an online business. So the biggest struggle for me was making that transition to face-to-face selling and marketing versus online selling and marketing. And what I mean by that is I've always had a physical location. So even when you're marketing to that physical location, somebody can come into your business and touch, and they can feel you, they can pick up the phone, and they can call you. And my biggest challenge was being visible online and not having that sort of crutch of people coming into the business and finding me. So, and let me, I guess, be clear, is when we had the barbershop, if we didn't have sales, we just went out and created some flyers and started passing them out. Right. We went back to guerrilla marketing tactics. But when you're in the online space, there is no making flyers and passing them out. You got to make your flyers and pass them out online. You got to get online, and you got to be visible online. So you've got to create that sort of guerrilla tactic, but online. Mm-hmm. And that type of visibility for me has been difficult and continues to be difficult for me because I'm a behind the scenes kind of person. I prefer to work with somebody and never be on camera, never, you only hear my voice if you're actually talking to me on the phone. So being visible has been visible in that kind of way has been the biggest struggle for me. And so I would say that I'm great one-on-one, meeting somebody or talking to you like we're doing one-on-one, but like just kind of talking to a camera and hyping people up and talking about my business, that, being the face of my business has been a struggle for me. And I find with my clients, that's the struggle for them as well, is being visible, right? Like I would prefer there be a piece of paper in front of my face and you never see my face, and I just kind of do my shit on the back, right?
Like, it was like a pep talk, like a life-changing pep talk before her lives for the longest. But you do it now, like you show up. I mean, you got the marketing popping, so.
Yes. So again, it's funny because I love marketing, and I love the strategy of developing a marketing plan or marketing strategy with a client or with my peeps. I love that. But again, being visible and the face of my business, like I never in a million years thought that that's what I would have to do. Like I just thought that I would get to market, SG Consulting, and you just figure out who SG Consulting is, but that I'm not in the camera talking about it all the time. So that's kind of my thing, is like I've liked to hide behind the paper and to hide behind the email and the posts and all of that. And to be successful in the online space, it really does require you to come out and to show your face, let people hear your voice, talk about your services and products, not just create sort of the ads and the campaigns and the promotions and the offers without that visibility.
Now, so this entrepreneurial thing, this bug that we've gotten, right? I know we've both had our, fuck this shit moments. So many of those
shit, yeah.
So what was it? And funny enough, as much as we love one another, our personalities are so different. How did you get past the fuck this shit moments?
Well, I think because I've got a support network like you, I think there's several things that help me get through it is, what I will tell you, it's not your family and your friends who don't know a damn thing about what you do. It's certainly not them.
Our jobs are imaginary to these people.
Absolutely imaginary to my family for sure. Like, you're sitting in front of the screen doing what? Like, why are you doing that? So I think the biggest, there's probably three things that I would say have helped me the most is having a support network, which includes you and a couple of other people that really understand what I do. So when I do have those fuck this moment, they talk you off the ledge. The second thing is having a coach, and I have multiple coaches, having a coach that has been there, done that, and can really guide me through, because I, like everybody else, want a quicker path, right? I don't want to spend the next 10 years trying to figure this shit out, or trying to figure out how am I going to make, A, B, C, and D work together. So investing in knowledge that is going to allow me to propel myself quicker has been probably a game changer for me. But I've always been sort of a knowledge seeker, and it's like, okay, where's the book? Where's the person? Where's the video, so that I can learn it quickly? Mm-hmm. And there's something to be said about, you can't get all of what you need free, right? So I'll consume as much as I can free. Mm-hmm. And then when I'm not getting the results that I want, I'm like, okay, where's the coach? Where's the person who's going to instruct me step by step to get this done? Because, I need it done yesterday. So that's number two. And then number three, I think that really helps me get through is realizing that this is a journey, and that there's no quick rich way to do this. There's no quick way to circumvent the shit that you've got to go through, the things that you have to do, the steps that you have to follow. Now you can decide. I had a coach tell me one time, you can decide to skip the steps if you want, but you're going to end up having to come back through the steps anyway, mm-hmm. because shit's not going to go the way that you want. So might as well just go through the steps, right? I can't, this is a cheesy saying, but I love it. There's two cheesy sayings I'm going to say, right? You can't have a baby. 9 women can't have a baby in 1 month, right? It still takes 9 months for the baby to grow. And it's the same way with your business. You can't eat an elephant in one big chunk. You got to eat it in pieces. And the same way with your business. And so those two cliches for me is the thing that when I really get frustrated, I have to remember, I cannot make this go super fast. I'm going to have some amazing wins along the way if I do what I need to do, but it's not going to be overnight. It didn't take me overnight to get my degree. It didn't take me overnight to get to the 6-figure mark in my corporate job. And it's the same way with your business.
Yeah. I think a lot of that has to do with, and you know how we feel about this, but a lot of it is, yes, we do want the faster route. We absolutely want the faster route. But I think also being fed all of the images and the media on our newsfeed and the groups.
All the bullshit that these ads tell you. Come on, just put it out there.
I make 6 figures in 4 months, bitch, die.
Yeah, and it's funny because, there's one coach that I follow, I've got a couple of coach crushes, and there's one coach that I follow, and she's been running this ad, and she's been running it for months. And so she offers this program. And I want to say, I just realized that the ad said 14 months to 6 figures. The only thing that I have ever seen in that ad was how I made 6 figures in my launch. But I missed the 14 months that it took. The pertinent information, which is what a lot of us miss and we see. And so when I actually looked at the ad and I was like, fuck, 14 months, that's about the right amount of time. That's like how long it takes for you to successfully get all of the pieces together, and tweak it for you to do it. But, when I jumped out and did this, I was like, I'm making that 6 figures like in, 2-3 months.
What was going to happen? I start 30K money.
Anyway, I'm going to be in my $1 million house, in the next 6 months. So anyway, I'm already packed and I'll let you know when I move, right? I mean, that was kind of, the fallacy that I had when I first started. And then I had to get smacked into reality that it just doesn't work like that.
That smack was so hard because
that shit hurt. It's still on my face. Like the mark is like right there still.
Exactly. It's like, here's the thing. And this is what I've noticed, and you'll tell me if you agree or disagree, but I've seen so many people, we've all started at different points, right? We start wherever we see our first coach crush and we follow their system.
Exactly. You follow that and you're like, I'm going to be exactly like that person, right?
And then you realize that, well, maybe that shit ain't going to work all the way out.
First of all, I'm not that person.
And then you find another person and then you do their thing, and the thing about it is we all start at these different entry points. And it's not until we put all these 176 moving parts together, and it just happens to be, it's like the lottery. It happens to be that last thing that catapults us into success. But we're not talking about the 176 other things it took us to get to that point. You know what I mean? So, if a person, got their riches by writing a book and becoming a bestseller author, or they, got their riches by Facebook ads, or they got their riches by speaking, a lot of times that's not the only thing. It's not even a lot of times, all the time. It's not the only thing, right? Like they've done all the other stuff in this back, and behind the scenes that we didn't see. And so it's kind of like, okay, y'all. And I had to tell myself this, okay, girl, like you got this business. You think you have this business, there's all these holes in it. And that's why it's not consistent, or that's why.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not Facebook ads alone that is going to make you six figures. It's not, the 5-step process alone that's going to make you it may be the 5 steps, but it's not the 1 step out of the 5 that's going to make you, make you the 6 figures or the $1 million. It's all of the other things that need to be connected together. But, and you and I have talked about this. Nobody wants to hear about the 176 steps, right?
Hell no.
You don't want to hear about that because that'll scare you away. You want to know, and you want to think psychologically, it's only going to take me 2 steps in 2 months for me to, be able to quit this job and say, deuces, I'm out. Right. But the reality is that this is building. It is a process, and, greatness takes time.
It does.
Period. I mean, you look at, I saw Transformers last night, and one of the scenes they're crushing down the pyramids. And I thought, it's a great analogy. A pyramid, which isn't, one of the 7 wonders of the world, took years, multiple decades to build that amazingness. And again, I don't think it doesn't have to take us multiple decades to build an empire, but it certainly is not going to happen overnight. And it's certainly not going to happen by you doing 1 out of the 176 steps that are required for success.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay. Let's talk about, since we talked about the deuces to our job, let's talk about that. Do you remember that shit? Like,
I do.
So can we talk about how it felt to like put in that notice to be like, okay, I'm gone, and then to actually leave, like that actual last day? Like, I remember your last day. Do you remember my last day?
I do remember. And I will tell you that if I had to do it over again, I would still do it, but I would do it a little bit differently. And so that's kind of what I hope that I'm able to provide to the clients that I work with who are on that verge. Is it's not necessarily that you've got to be ready, because you're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready financially. You're never going to be ready mentally. The shit that you're going to go through when you open up your business is like no shit. Just like I tell people who have children, right? That first month after birth is the worst shit that's ever existed to man, right? No one can prepare you for the lack of sleep, the amount of crying, the amount of feeding, just the amount of sheer chaos. And that's exactly the way it is with having a business. It's like, I think I just coined something. Having a business is like having a baby. Like that first month is sheer hell, as is having a business. Like that first month is sheer hell. But, just like babies are so cute and we love them and we still stick with them, we don't give them back. That's the way you need to treat your business. You don't give your business back when things don't work, when they start spitting up on you, you don't sleep, you haven't showered in 3 days, you just keep working through it, right? That's the same way. So I think because I've had children, I get that I'm going to get shit on, I'm going to get thrown up on, and I'm going to have some amazing moments along the way. So, but I do remember jumping in. I would do things a little bit different, but I would absolutely still jump.
So as opposed to, or compared to what you did do, what would you change? Well, let's talk about what you did do. We don't got to give them all the nasty details, but
yeah. I jumped with, so we have a family, and I have a family of 3, married, 3 children, and I jumped with no financial cushion. So I created, and I am the breadwinner in our family. And so I jumped with no financial safety net. So immediately when I jumped, there was a pressure for me to replace a pretty large income. That's very risky if you have a family and you've got children who, if I was single, I guess what I would do differently is I would have jumped, 20 years ago when I was single, no kids, because it would have been no pressure for me. At least, I would have been able to wing it, and there's not people that are depending on me. So I think that's the difference that I would do. I jumped with no, so I had to do a lot of things in my business that and I think we all do, particularly when we first start, but I did things in my business out of desperation, out of needing to make a dollar that really didn't align to my vision of what I wanted to do for my business. So, and the thing is when you have the mentality that this has to work or this has to work, you will unfortunately be in a position sometimes that you will have to do some things that you don't necessarily have to do.
I haven't heard us say that in a while.
I know. I'm not selling ass. That's one thing I won't do. But there's some other shit that I've done that, I probably wish I didn't have to do because of the situation that I put myself in. But that's pretty much the only thing that I would do differently is I would create a cushion for myself. And any fiduciary responsible person will tell you, don't jump without having at least some sort of financial cushion.
Yeah, something somewhere.
Yeah.
They all know my story. So, so, one of the things we actually talked about, and I just want to bring this to the attention of our listeners. We talked about how when we were coming through, and I say it like we were going through college or something, like we were coming through the ranks.
Top ramen every day.
We were focusing on a lot of things that were not directly producing consistent income for us. We were doing a lot of bullshit stuff that, okay, we looked pretty and, we had products that no one fucking bought, but, but we weren't focusing on things that were actually like get into the meat of it. And so for somebody who's still in their job and they're going to be transitioning in a year or less or whatever, what would you tell them that they really need to be focusing on in order to have some income? Or at least know what they want to do. Because how many times have we even changed who we work with, right? So something to give them some kind of guidelines or something they can kind of look for to work towards their transition.
So that's a great question because I think there's a couple of things. I have multiple responses to that. So I think I can get it down.
Well, girl, we got 10. And
okay, good. So I think I can get it down to 3 or 5 good tips to help you with, right? Because everything is numerical for me, right? 1 to 10. So the first thing I would think that would be really beneficial if you're still in your 9 to 5 and you're thinking about your business is, 1, make sure that you are building a way to consistently attract people. And what I mean by that is, just like I said, when I first started, I spent a lot of time, and I'll use my salon as an example. I spent a lot of time working on, the aesthetics of the business, right? Working on how the business looked. Internally, even for an online business. So we work on the outside, right? The website, we work on, our business cards. All the shit that doesn't get you money, right? If you're not driving traffic to your website, doesn't matter how beautiful your website is. Now, not to say that you need to have a shitty website, but frankly, you don't even really need to have a website you need to have an opt-in page, right? You need a way to get information about your perspective so that you can continue to communicate to them. So one, work on driving traffic to your offer, to your business, to whatever fill in the blank thing that you do. That's the number one thing I think that for me, if I had to do over again, that's what I would be focused on. Not so much the aesthetics of the business, not so much on, it's important to have a brand, but not so much in the beginning as much as it is to understand what is that one thing that you want to let the world know that you do. That's more important. So again, like when you think about opening up, I just read an article yesterday about when you open up a store and people are so focused on trying to get all this inventory, trying to get all these products and all these services. And same thing with your business. Focus on one thing, one service, one product that you want to sell the hell out of and attract people to that one service and that one product. And so if I had to do it again, I would focus on that one thing that I just love to do until, I was just tired of doing it. So my number one is, focus on that one thing. Number two, focus on driving traffic to that one thing and that one service until you figure out what you want to do, or that you talk to enough people that you can figure out that you love more than, or that there's a need for more than one thing or whatever that may be. Which leads me to my third point, market research. Really understand who is it that you're servicing and what is it that they need so that you can create that one thing to solve their problem. I think when I look back at where my biggest struggle was, is I didn't really know when I was working with salon owners what I was fixing. There were so many things that I saw that was broken. Like I had this one idea to do this program. And then when I started having sales calls, I realized that they can't even get to point B because point A is broken. So that's kind of the thing is market research, drive traffic to your one thing and identify the one thing that you want to do.
I just talked about this earlier this morning, actually, in the Trap House. And I was talking about how, do you really know who your ideal client is? Do you remember me sending you the letter to Frankie? And I was Frankie is my ideal client, you guys. And I was so excited about this thing. I mean, I had it down to like the tattoo on the back of her neck with the piercing, okay? And let me tell y'all something. I thought I knew my ideal client, but you don't know jack shit until you get out here in these streets and you start working with these people.
This is true. You didn't. Not you specifically, but you're right. You don't, because my ideal client has changed over time. And that has been as a result of me working with clients that I'm like, okay, well, I thought this is what I wanted, or I thought this is who was the perfect person for me. And so I think you touching on that is that your ideal client that you start with may not be who you end with, but the exercise of identifying who it is a starting point, and you need that starting point.
Would you say that because I know we as business owners have evolved. Do your clients evolve with you?
What do you mean?
So what I mean is, like what you said, you might not end with the same client that you start with in the beginning. Do you feel like that's as a direct result of us evolving as the coaches and consultants that we are?
Because I kind of interpret what you're asking me in two ways. So the first way that I'm going to interpret it is the type of person that I want to attract to my business has changed dramatically from the beginning to where I am today.
Okay.
Like I know now, when I first started, I thought that I was looking to start with people who were new to business. But what I'm finding is my ideal client is someone who's been in business for 18 months or greater. And that's because when you're new in business, you're not really ready to automate your business. You're still trying to figure out, and you really ought to do things manually. You're not ready to automate.
Exactly.
And automation is this is what I do. I automate processes for you so that you don't have to hit the streets, get out there and do the footwork. You're automatically attracting people in the way that you do your business. So I think that's kind of one way. But then the other way that I interpret what you ask me is, do my clients change over time? So the people that I work with that I still continue to work with, I think that they do evolve and that they as I evolve, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they stay with me or you just decide to keep them on, yes, I do think that they're certainly different people at the end.
Right. Okay, I'm with you. And I guess that question just kind of came from even me noticing myself and then other people that I've worked with. It's like as you grow, you kind of start attracting different people, it seems, just based on how you're messaging and how you're talking to people as you grow yourself. So yeah, thank you. And
Absolutely.
thank you for answering from both sides, because I didn't even think of the second one that you answered. Like, wait, yeah, that's yeah, exactly. So when it comes down to niche, I noticed you said earlier, you're like, to get known for that one thing. And, I'm an advocate of that. When it comes down to niche, we think we know our niche when we're like, oh, I'm a health coach. That's my niche. I'm a marketing coach. That's my niche. How important is that to be so specific or to be more specific in order to bring in the clients that you're looking for?
Oh, it's not, I mean, it's a matter of, wasting thousands of dollars versus having $1,000 work for you very specifically. So I use this as an example that, you can't be a jack of all trades. It is better for you to be a plumber that fixes, broken sinks than to try and be a generic plumber that fixes everything, because you can advertise and you can market and you can select down to the fact that somebody who has a Moen sink, right? And again, I get a little bit technical, which is a type of faucet, having been a fixer upper myself. But when you get down to a specific niche, it makes you very lasered focused in terms of who it is that you're servicing, what specific problem you're solving, and how you can provide a solution for that specific problem. So it doesn't mean that you as a coach or a service provider or product provider can't have multiple solutions, but when it comes to marketing, you need to be very specific about what the problem is, who has the problem, and what is the specific solution. Else you are wasting your money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Gosh. And it's funny because when you first tell our clients that, they're like, oh my God, but if I only choose one thing, no, what am I going to do? Like, they're totally freaked out by that. And we were freaked out about that, but God knows when we pinned it down, it was so much easier to.
Well, and I think though it's funny because I feel like when you pin it down, there's so many ways to pin something down, right? Like I knew that I wanted to, when I first started, that I wanted to do the beauty industry, but in what capacity? I still didn't narrow it down in terms of, and so I tried to be a jack of all trades. I tried to be a coach that sort of fixed your entire business. And what it ended up doing was overworking myself, right? It didn't necessarily narrow down the focus. I'm very good at technology, I'm very good at marketing, very good at operations, right? So I had to narrow even that industry down to a specific problem that I wanted to solve, not all of their problems, because even though I could fix all of their problems, that was not an effective utilization of my time. Absolutely. Or their time for that matter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what does a day in the life of Sundey, the Marketing Boss Pro, look like?
So now it includes being visible on Facebook, which if you'd asked me 6 months ago, I would have been like, well, I do a lot of ads. I do a lot of what have you. So the day of the life of Sundey is certain. Well, let me say this. I have spent the last 6 months building a team to help me so that the day in the life of Sundey is really focused on activities that are generating revenue. So I like to hide behind my busy work, just as a person who's type A and likes to check off checklists and cross things off. And so what I find is when I hide behind those activities that don't generate revenue for me, I don't make any money, right? So the day in the life of Sundey is really creating a team of people who are focused on doing those necessary activities in my business so that I'm focused on being visible and, to my community, being visible to my prospective clients and to my existing clients, right now, my focus is on, I have for 2017, my goal was to impact 100 business owners and help them up level 6 figures. And so what I found by month 3 of the year, I wasn't achieving that. So I was like, well, what am I doing that I'm not achieving that type of access to people? So I had to change what I was doing in the message. So now the Day in the Life of Sundey really is focusing on the development of group programs so that I can touch more people simultaneously who have the same similar issues. So I'm focusing less on one-on-one coaching and more on group programs. And so right now it's as we embark on the rest of 2017, we're at the halfway mark. It's about launching and continuing to grow my exposure. Getting ready to do a challenge in July. I'm getting ready to do a group challenge, and then launch my convert strangers to paying clients online program. So it's all about all of the 176 steps that it takes to get that launch out the door.
I feel like that's going to be our number from now on.
176 is my number now. Like, that's it. It's 176 steps, not one more, not one less. And I'm going to give it to you in 5-step increments.
You guys, this is really what our conversations on a daily basis. So, I heard you say that you got a team, so that basically you can do the stuff that only Sundey can do. When did you know it was time for a team, and how fucking scary was it? Because I know, like, girl, I was like beating heartbeat. Like, tell us about it. Like, I'm
still scary about it. So I'm still like, I don't know, maybe I haven't done the right thing. Just give it back to me. I'll do my own damn images. You're not getting it done fast enough. Like, I could have been up till 2:00 and had these images completed. So I think it's still scary for me because I am such a control freak. But what I will say is, so you asked me like 3 questions in that. So one was like, how did I know that I needed a team? I think I knew, like, when I started the business, I needed a team. I was like, because I mean, literally it was, I mean, and so I sort of kind of stumbled through this question because I found myself worn the fuck out. Like, I was up until like 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning every night. And my husband, he would come outside and he'd be all like, you're not making any damn money. What the hell are you doing? Like, why are you, like, what are you doing? Just go back to work. I'm like, first of all, damn it, I'm already working. Number 2, what do you mean go back to work? I am working. What the hell do you think I've been doing? So the thing was is that I was just doing too much, and it wasn't getting me anywhere. It wasn't getting me any more clients. It wasn't getting me in front of people, but it was all shit that needed to be done. I mean, when you come up with a new service or product, in the middle of the night, the 5th one that you decided that you need because you listen to a post of one of your, in your group, and 5 people have said the same thing. You're like, shit, I need to create a service or a product that's going to address this. Well, you got to get all these things done in order to launch it. And so I found myself in the same position again. I was working too much. I was working too many hours, and I wasn't seeing the return of that investment. So that became quickly apparent to me that I needed to do that. And in so much as I'm a workaholic, it didn't become apparent to me because I saw it, is because my family saw it and I wasn't available to them, and I wasn't doing, I was in front of my computer too much. So it became clear that I needed to back up or my family would desert me. I would never. It was just going to be me and you, girl. We were going to have to support one another. But you can't go to the movies with me. And my kids are like, but you said you were going to go to the movies. Yeah. And so I quickly kind of fell into that, a lot of busy work. And so, and I say busy work, not to mean that it wasn't valuable work. It was just work that can be done by anyone, that can be outsourced. And so that's when I realized that if I wanted to be effective, I needed to focus on doing the work that only I can do, and then let others do or outsource those other types of things that can be done by other people.
Got you. Got you. I know. I know that's definitely a scary thing. I know there were a couple of days that both of us have worked 24-hour days, like legit 24-hour days.
Legitimately.
And so needing that team to grow your business so that you can do only what you can do is really important. But I know that there's a lot of fear related with that, because you're just like, or attached to it, because you're just kind of like, if you're already not making money in your business and then you have to pay a team,
yeah. And then this sort of responsibility, financial responsibility, I'm not making money in my business, and then I've got to hire somebody else. And am I ready to do that? No, I need to be making a certain amount of money before I can do that. And it really is sort of the chicken before the egg syndrome that you go through. Like, should I do it? Am I ready to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the thing that I would say when you ask me about the 9 to 5, right? If you stay in your 9 to 5 and you hire somebody to help with some of these tasks while you're in your 9 to 5 and you're growing, that is like the best recipe for success, right? Is, don't create this. Do not jump. Let me just say that sounds like a double, like, don't use your 9 to 5 as a crutch that prevents you from jumping into doing what your heart's passion is. That's first and foremost. But while you're in that bitch,
Mm-hmm.
do it and use the money to fund your life and then help fund your business as a secret investor into your business, and hire and outsource as much as you can afford to in the beginning to help build that foundation for you.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. That's when I look back now, and I mean, whatever, spilled milk. But when I look back to when I was employed and where I'm like, God, if I was smart,
if I had known, right? Like if I had known, exactly. Like I wouldn't be scared to drop $500 or, $1,000 on a website that would keep me from having to be up 2 weeks straight until 3:00 in the morning working on a website, when I could be working on something else till 3:00 in the morning as opposed to my website, right?
Yeah.
I could be mulling over my Facebook ads and driving a bunch of traffic to my website that the guy will have done in less than 3 days.
Yes. Yes. Well, and that kind of brings me to because we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, but this brings me to like that last question. And that is, your top 1, 2, 3 things that you would tell a person before they chuck the deuces. Like, what do they need to know? And we kind of touched on it, but I guess you're the queen at wrapping it up. So give us some bullet points, some numbers.
Let me give you my 1 through 176 reasons why you should.
Well, we really have time for like 3, but
really?
Y'all can follow Sundey. Y'all make sure y'all follow her so you can get the
That's
other.
right. Follow me, and I'll give you, step 100 and step 6 through 176 on what you need to do to make this shit work for you. All right. So steps for what you should do before you give up your 9 to 5. So quickly, 3 to 5 things. Okay. First thing that I would say that would be the most important thing is some of the things that I've already alluded to, which is, what is your one product or service? Who is your ideal client for you right now? What is their problem? Make sure that you understand what their problem is, understand what your one service or product will do to solve that, drive traffic to your business, and be doing that before you quit your job, right? Make sure that you have a process in place to attract customers, because it doesn't matter what great idea you have if you're not driving customers or clients or leads, you're going to be broke, period. You're going to be broke. Either you're out there hitting the street, driving traffic manually, or you're doing it in an automated fashion. So that would be the number thing. Don't just create it, because that's bullshit. They do not just come. You build it, they come syndrome. That shit doesn't exist. So build it so that they are coming through a process that you have created, either through an opt-in, or you've created a schedule where you're going to be leaving your house, business or whatever, and hitting the street and getting 5 to 10 client, prospects or leads a week. Whatever you do, either automated or manually, that's what you need to be doing consistently before you leave your 9 to 5. The number 3 thing that I would say is, so one is, what is your service? Who's your ideal client? How are you driving 5 to 10 leads per week, automated or manually, consistently? And then how do you sell them? Like, what's your pricing? Like, what are you going to sell them? How are you going to sell it to them, and get that process defined? And if you can afford it, even if it's 5 to 10 hours per week, outsource as much of the administrative stuff as you can early, so that you're opt-in funnel, so that you can get 5 to 10 leads a week. I think that's the biggest thing is it fashion before you leave your 9 to 5, because at some level, if you're doing that type of traffic, you'll be able to convert.
Absolutely, absolutely. And my boo here is the queen of the process, the sales processes, the funnels and stuff. And she beats me up because I pretty much ignore her until something goes wrong. And then I'm like, can you help me? So she knows what she's talking about. You guys, Sundey has graciously provided something for you guys, and we talked about it at the beginning. I don't know if you came in a little late, but it is going to be found at freeplanner.Sundey Gardner, and Sundey is spelled with an E. SundeyGardner.com. We'll also have links to all of her social media platforms. We'll have links to that planner, so that you guys can connect with her and learn from her and apply her strategies to your business as well. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
This interview was so dope. Like, you gave them some juice, some tea, some nuggets, like, for sure. So you guys, thank Sundey. Tell her goodbye, and make sure, you show love and support her community and all that good stuff.
Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. All right, you guys, stay tuned. I'm not sure if this is the last one or not by the time these all air. So if not, if this is the last one for today, I'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good day. Bye.